Sorry, everyone, for the lack of streams. I got a little sick over Thanksgiving, and I'm not sick anymore. It was just a little cold, but hello. He misses being on stream, too. My whole life, after I get sick, I get a little cough that lasts a while afterwards. Very annoying, very debilitating. Best way to deal with it, don't talk at all. What am I doing right now? Well, I got bills to pay, folks. I'll be back at it when I can. In the meantime, I'll be taking it easy. Not much I can do about it. I'm chugging the cough drops, you know. I'm chug-jugging them, you know, like in the song. Brain rot aside, drones. You hear about the business with New Jersey? All the drones overhead? We're having kind of a peasant brain moment, you know. People are freaking out over this. I mean, it's all over the news. People are saying it's China, like with the balloon story. People are saying it's a military threat, aliens, whatever. Basically, if you don't know, lights have been seen over New Jersey. I know. It's pretty crazy. A lot of them are planes. The usual contenders. Planes, satellites, maybe. You know, you can see satellites. Some of them. They got lights. Maybe a weather balloon. And drones. You know, seeing lights in the sky, it's not like it used to be. Back 30 years ago, the only way to put lights in the sky was with a satellite, weather balloon, or plane. Or a helicopter. But it's pretty easy to identify those, at least the plane and the helicopter. And they tend to move in predictable patterns, you know? Planes have to keep going forward to fly. I know. I haven't gone to aviation school, but I've picked up quite a bit in my 30 years. They can't just zip around. Nowadays with drones, you can put whatever the hell you want in the sky. Basically any altitude. I mean, you know, laws aside, and I am simplifying, but seeing lights in the sky just isn't that exceptional anymore. I mean, what can you take from that, right? We're going to be doing these UFO panics every time we see a damn drone? They're incredibly cheap and easy to fly. This culminated all the way up to Andy Kim. I saw a tweet thread from him. He was like doing a walkabout with police where they were like looking up at the sky and going, yup, those are lights. Think that might be planes. And a lot of them are planes. There are some actual drones flying over there. How interesting is this? I don't find it interesting at all. Maybe it's some, you know, top secret government thing. More likely than not, it's just drones. I mean, it's drones. Just watch the damn video.
The mystery widens. Today, people in the New York metro area are reporting a growing number of drone sightings in their communities.
This stuff bothers me, you know? It's a return to peasant brain. We're getting more and more superstitious. Distrust is virtuous to a point, but past a point, it kind of affects the faculties, you know? We're not here to do faith healing, right? People freaking out like this over drones really makes you think how bad of an idea flying cars really would have been. There's lights in the sky. Is that aliens? No, that's the elevated 405 over Los Angeles. It always looks like that, Grandpa. You've got lines of light zigzag in the sky, the highways of the flying cars, like the branches of Yggdrasil, reaching over the world. Let's get you back inside, Grandpa. Keep the windows closed.
Is following a wave of mysterious drone appearances in the skies over New Jersey. This is sparking significant concern among residents and local and state leaders. The White House and the FBI says there is no evidence that the drones pose a national security threat or have a foreign connection, but that's only adding to the confusion. So far, there are no explanations as to what they are, where they're coming from, or who is launching them. For weeks now, the drones have been spotted over homes, critical infrastructure, and sensitive government sites. Today, frustrated lawmakers have...
This is, I think, symptomatic of a broader concern, you know? You know how they say horror movies are never really about the monster, they're about what the monster represents? Like cabin slasher films are more about like the socially conservative, or at least like a reaction to the socially conservative aversion to like, you know, college students drinking and or out in the summer cabins or whatever. A kind of morally puritanical punishment. That's why the virginal girl always survives, you know? And the zombie movies are like a fear of, you know, maybe poor third worlders overwhelming us. That was World War Z for sure. Or consumerism, making everyone zombies or whatever. Like, it's always about something, you know? People don't just find something scary for no reason. It's like, oh, well, it's a undead person. Okay, yeah? Find me anything that's less of a threat to me than a dead person. Oh, I got one. An alive person. Not that impressive, unless you're talking about the metaphor it represents, I guess. You know, this fear, I think, or this heightened concern, it speaks to a broader paranoia. People were like this during a lot of the Cold War, too. And obviously a lot of that was you know, sort of being expressed in the context of the possibility that the world might end at any time in nuclear hellfire, a reasonable concern given the time, still is a reasonable concern. You know, it always channeled itself through something else. You know, people often look back at the McCarthyist witch hunts. You know, McCarthy would go up there and he would say, I have the names of 100 million people. I don't know. I don't remember what his accent sounded like at all. I'm sorry. I was doing a Bernie there. I have the names of 100 million communists who work for the State Department. I have the names here. I will not release them. You will never see me release them. I am doing this as a grift. I am attention seeking. I will burn in hell. I am currently burning in hell. That's McCarthy, not Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is going to heaven. Jews believe in heaven, right? They just don't believe in heaven. They believe in heaven. Is he even practicing Jew? I don't think he is. Whatever. He's going to heaven one way or another. You know, it's people wonder, like, how do you fall for that paranoia? How do you buy that? And I think like that now that we're living, I guess, in an era of like increasing, I say skepticism here with air quotes. I basically mean like people are being really dumb these days. You know, the lack of institutional trust has bled out into a whole bunch of like adjacent neuroses that are expressing themselves in socially destructive ways. How do people buy the McCarthy bit, right? Well, people bought the McCarthy bit because they were scared. Why are people scared of this? Well, people are scared in general. People have no idea what's coming in the future. It's not like I do, but I'm not freaking out over lights in the sky when drone tech is commercially available. It's not 2016. Like, drone tech is, you can literally like order a box and legally buy a thing that can do this over New Jersey. I assume. I haven't actually looked up like the specific parameters and power limits and flight limits and so on and so forth of drones. I'm not an expert on the subject. Is it like a foreign power, something untoward? I don't know. But like, the government's capturing all of this. You think they don't know? They're aware. You know, it's probably not that serious.
Gone from asking questions to demanding answers.
Answers.
New Jersey can't become the Wild West of drone activity. No state can become the Wild West of drone activity. I've made this very clear to the FBI, to Homeland Security, and the FAA, the agencies chiefly responsible for monitoring drone activity. They must immediately disclose more information to the public. It's totally and completely unacceptable that you have all this drone activity going on that people are seeing with their own eyes.
Funnily, it's a very anti-libertarian perspective, you know? Like, oh, you fly a drone? Therefore, the government should disclose who you are and what you're doing. We don't do that with cars, you know. We do that with planes. And it's good that we do that with planes. But planes are, you know, controlled through agencies that typically regulate businesses. Most people aren't like going out there flying their private planes. And for those who do, you know, the pilots that they get, they have their own, you know, systems and certifications that they have to go through. What I'm saying is this is an example of people clamoring for regulation in an era of more or less unprecedented deregulatory threat. You know, we're facing down, I would say, like something worse than the Reagan era here. Like, you know, Reagan was very bad with the deregulation, but like what we're seeing with like the threats to remove approval of the polio vaccine. Threats, you know, I mean, it's from RFK Jr.'s lawyer who's been fighting for this for a while. But RFK, you know, we still might see like it removed from the regular scheduling, which means lots and lots of kids aren't going to have it. We're seeing like deregulation, I guess, like deregulation as a general rule. And there are some elements of deregulation that are good, by the way. I genuinely do think that in a lot of cases there are too many regulations when it comes to local zoning, for example, like way too many. There's a reason why it costs so much to like build and zone in some parts of the United States. But like broadly speaking, deregulation is socially irrational. It can be rational for the businesses that benefit from it. We're reaching a point now where deregulation might end up being irrational even for the people who benefit like directly from it. And we're kind of like reversing, we're going back on the, you know, Henry Ford economic model here. The idea that you need to pay your workers well enough that they can buy your products because that makes you and them richer. There is a good logic to that. We've been working away from that for a while now. Like we're reaching a level of class warfare where the poor are being robbed to such an extent that they're no longer able to patronize the businesses that are pushing for the deregulation. It's all speculation now, you know, it's all private equity. I'm sorry, I've been talking about this a lot. I shouldn't even be talking, man. I should be sitting motionless, observing my cats as they stare at me and wonder why I'm staring at them like as much as they stare at me. Just play the video for a bit more. I have a point that I want to make. Is it a good point? Well, you'll just have to like and subscribe and donate your life savings to me to find out.
The fact that the federal agencies responsible for briefing the public have not come forward in a clear way is unacceptable. There has to be some explanation to the public for all this increased activity, and they must do so now.
Let's discuss these mysterious drones with former FBI Supervisory Special Agent Tom Adams.
Did we even get videos of the... I'm sorry, they didn't even provide videos of the drones. That's crazy. What do you think I'm here for? No wonder nobody watches CNN anymore. If you type in New Jersey on YouTube, at least for me right now, New Jersey drone sightings was number 1. Number 2 was New Jersey UFO. God help me. You know who else was obsessed with UFOs? The Nazis. No, I'm not kidding. This kind of like occult mysticism, this default to conspiracism, it always goes back to the same place. That's why you can't be conspiratorial. I'm not saying you can't say Epstein didn't kill himself, or not shit like that, but you have to like engage with the world and operate. You have to build your arguments and your beliefs off the pieces the world is giving you. You can't make up pieces. You can't like wholesale construct elements of the dynamic, you know? The idea that the world is being run by lizard people, there's a lot of people who believe that, or like whatever, you know, they say lizard people. Some people, like oftentimes when they say lizard people, they mean, or at least they're thinking like of Jews, you know, because it always comes back to the same unoriginal bigotry with a lot of them, you know. But then if you say like, okay, well, the world is kind of like controlled by capitalists, it's like, well, yeah, no shit. It says that in the front cover, you know, like that's not really a conspiracy. That's on the tin. That's just like the way it works. Yeah, I don't even think there's much contention, you know? Just give me a video of the damn drone sightings, please.
For more on the latest drone sightings, we're joined by Belleville, New Jersey Mayor Michael Melham. Mr. Mayor, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Personnel technology to assist the New Jersey State public, that we in the federal government have deployed additional resources, personnel, technology.
Is it just me, or does this guy have a Tim Walz face? Not his head, his face. Doesn't he a little bit?
To assist the New Jersey State Police in addressing...
Oh my God, I know this guy. I'm so sorry. I didn't recognize him. Mayorkas, I swear to God, I haven't seen your face in like 2 years. I haven't seen your face. I hate you. I don't like you. I haven't seen your face in like 2 years. I've just heard your voice and read about you. Hello, sorry. Didn't realize you had Tim Walz face. Probably because I didn't know who Tim Walz really was like 2 years ago, right?
The drone sightings.
You see
Mr.
it, right?
Mayor, are you getting the information you need from the Department of Homeland Security?
We are not. I mean, it's been 4 days since an unprecedented meeting with every single mayor in the state of New Jersey, including members of our state legislature, were gathered together to be told exactly what the state of New Jersey knows. And that's very little. If you listen to exactly what they were saying, the little bit of information that we did get, but you couple that with what they weren't saying, it's leading people like me to draw their own conclusions. And some have said that our conclusions are basically conspiracy theories, but the best way...
Yeah, what if it's just like drones? Like, literally, what if it's just drones? Like, what if it's just drones being piloted by dudes? I mean, if the government was that concerned, they could just knock it out of the sky. I don't know. I just... Oh, it's so tiring, man.
To squash conspiracy theory is with truth and transparency, and that's what we're seeking and demanding.
What are leaders there in the Garden State telling you if you encounter drones in your city?
Yeah, so I broke that news a couple days ago. We now have guidance on exactly what to do. Our police department is to immediately call the local bomb squad, and our fire department has to suit up with hazmat material.
Okay, whatever. Who cares? Whatever.
Can you see it?
Look at the it's anyone can do this now. What, you know that meme? Like like I'm gonna get a bunch of drones and do a drone light show over the North Sentinelese people or something to see how they react. Finding an uncontacted tribe in the Amazon and giving them like the like Beijing New Year's, you know, drone light show to see how they feel and start worshiping a new god. Apparently, you can just do that over New Jersey now. You don't even need a big light show. You just need like a few drones.
Briefed by the FBI.
I'm sorry, I can't. This is gonna make me sick all over again. I can't. It could be something, but like it's not. Look, I had a point I wanted to end on. Okay, it's a little bit schmaltzy. Can you forgive me for that? Can you forgive me for that? I just saw it on Twitter. You know, it's not the product of some deep investigation on my part. A little cut from a book talking about the invention of the polio vaccine. I'll just put it on here. I'll read it. Just found it on Twitter. Read anything about April 12th, 1955, the day Salk's breakthrough was made public, and you're likely to get a lump in your throat. All across the country, Americans gathered around their radios. Shops set up loudspeakers, factories went quiet, and judges declared their courtrooms in recess. In hundreds of movie theaters, more than 50,000 doctors watched the news together. Then came the official announcement. A team led by Dr. Jonas Edward Salk had developed a safe and effective vaccine against polio. The disease's days were numbered. In the auditorium where the press conference took place, people fell into each other's arms crying. Motorists drove around honking, and thousands of people took to the streets to celebrate. One historian later wrote, "A contagion of love swept the world. People observed moments of silence, rang bells, honked horns, blew factory whistles, fired salutes, kept their traffic lights red in brief periods of tribute, took the rest of the day off, closed their schools or convoked fervid assemblies therein, drank toasts, hugged children, attended church, smiled at strangers, forgave enemies." And that's where the bit on Twitter ends. I'm sure the book continues. I'm sure that's not where the book ends. You think we're ever going to get something like this again? Not the breakthrough, I mean, the reaction to it. One of these days, we're going to find a cure for Alzheimer's, dementia. One of these days, I really do think it. One of these days, we're going to cure cancer. One of them, at least. Cancer's complicated, but we'll find a way, or at least some miracle breakthrough. I've got a lot of faith in people, I really do. But do you think we're ever going to react like this to something like that again? Even in the 1950s. 1950s America was pretty politically polarized. It's not like everyone was, this was pre-civil rights movement, Jim Crow. Was the beginning of the Cold War, essentially. The McCarthyist era, like I talked about before. Joseph R. McCarthy. When was the Have You No Sense of Decency? 1954, yeah. Sorry, I didn't remember if it was later 50s. 1954. Man, look at what high-rise trousers can do for you when you're describing the Communist Party affiliations that have infiltrated the U.S. government. Wow. Thank you, Senator McCarthy, for showing us the way. Do you think we're ever going to have a reaction like that again to anything? Like I said, distrust isn't exactly invalid given the world we live in, but it just feels like it feels like you could do anything and you wouldn't break like 70% approval in America right now, Like there will always be and to be clear, by the way, I think this is entirely a fascist development. I think that some things are basically objectively good for everyone. Curing polio is objectively good. This isn't even a class distinction. Whether you're wealthy or poor, polio can hit you. Curing it is good, or being able to vaccinate against it. That is good. It improves society, objectively. There's no getting around it. And yet people today want to remove it. Why? Well, I think we're reaching that irrationalist point in the development of fascism, of anti-liberalism. Fascism has never exactly been like stranger to our political body here in the United States, but I think that the irrationalist element, the occultist element, the mythical element, I think it's growing in prominence, and I think we're reaching a point where even things that are objectively good for everyone, and I mean objectively good, not just like objectively neutral, trans people being able to use the bathrooms that they want to use is good, and it hurts nobody, but most people are unaffected by it. Whereas the polio vaccine is good for everyone. It's a net benefit for all people, not just a net benefit for some and for most everyone, no effect whatsoever, which is still overall a good thing. But you understand what I'm saying here, right? I feel like you could cure Alzheimer's, and if the lead doctor who cured it was an American national with a Chinese background, they would say that it was some plot by the CCP. I don't know. I mean, they chemically castrated the... Oh, God, forgetting him. One of the fathers of modern computing, the Alan Turing. I knew that. Man, men back then really did get haircuts like every other day, huh? I need a haircut. Need a beard cut. Good luck to New Jersey. If you're out there in the streets of New Jersey, out there getting the sub. Do they call it subs? I don't know. I know you like your sandwiches. Don't get abducted by aliens, okay? That's my advice.